Good morning, everybody. Please, can we confirm that we can hear me? Can we please confirm that we can hear me clearly? Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? How are we doing today?
Good morning. I can hear you. We are doing fine.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're welcome to section 1 today. Welcome to section 1 of the reporting and analytics with Power BI training. I would actually like to hear from a few of us, just within 2 minutes. Just within 2 minutes. I believe we had our technical section. That should be, let me see. That was yesterday. We had our technical session yesterday. So how was it? How was the technical session? And I hope we are ready and excited for today's session as well. So I just want one or two people to just unmute their mic and speak. So let me see if I can just call someone. Let's hear from Victoria. Good morning, Victoria. How are you doing today?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, yes.
Okay,
How are you doing today?
Fine. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so how was the technical session yesterday? And I hope you are ready for today's session as well.
Yes, I'm ready for today's session. Technical session yesterday, it was enlightening for me.
Very
I was
good.
able to get to understand what this training is about more and get an overview of how it's going to work.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for that feedback. Okay, so one last person. Let me see. I need a man this time around. So I don't know, Joshua. Good morning, Joshua. Good morning, Joshua Bolondro. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Please hold on. I'm fine. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How is your day
Well
going?
done. Well,
Yes.
fine, fine. My day's been good so
Okay,
far.
so our technical session, and I hope you are excited about today's session as well.
Of course, I am. Yesterday was great. So I'm looking forward to what we'll have today.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we are all welcome once again to today's session, and we'll be talking all things Power BI. We'll be talking all things Power BI, reporting analytics with Power BI. So since some of the things that have been covered yesterday, I won't dwell so much on them anymore. Right, so I'm just going to show us a few other things as well. So during the course of this session, this session is actually going to run for 6 sessions, right? Today's section 1, so we still have 5 more sessions to go. And during that period, we'll be covering a few of these concepts. We'll be covering Power Query, data modeling, M language, filter contests, extracting, transforming, and loading, using the calculate function. We'll be talking about DAX and the likes as well. All right, so moving on from this, I'd like to officially introduce myself. My name is Covenant Olusegun, and I'm a business intelligence analyst and trainer at Dbrown Consulting. I want to believe Flora already introduced me to us yesterday, so I'll be facilitating this section for us today. But of course, I won't be doing that alone. I also have on this call with me Flora Caseway. She's going to be my co-facilitator for this training. My co-facilitator for this training. Okay. Now, very quickly, let me just go to this virtual training methodology. Flora already talked about this yesterday as well. So we'll start with the assessments. After the assessments, we move on to the online session of the course where you're expected to, which I believe and I expect everybody on this call to have at least logged in and attempted to either reach the completion rate that we're given, or at least, if possible, surpass that completion rate as well. Then after the online section, then we move to the interactive virtual section, which is where we currently are. And this session is going to last for 2 hours. That is between now, 11:45 and 1:45 p.m. All right. Of course, my apologies in advance, just in case we spill, the hours by a minute or two. Okay. Then of course, during the sections, we'll be having morning quiz. I believe Flora already touched all this. We'll be having a quiz in the next few minutes. This is going to be our first quiz. Then we would also have the end quiz at the end of the session as well. Then we would have intermittent break as the session goes on. And then, of course, evaluation section, assignments, then application section. So, as I yesterday during our technical session, we were introduced to mural. Am I correct or not? If I'm correct, just type yes in the chat. We were introduced to mural, right? We were introduced to mural, Okay, okay. So right now we are going to be going to mural. So just give me a minute. Let me, okay. Let me share my screen so that we can see that, and then I can also, Flora, can you please drop the link in the chat, the link to mural in the chat, so people can join. All right, so the link to mural is going to be dropped in the chat for us. So I'd like for us to come straight down to mural. Mural is where we're going to be doing majority of our collaborations, right? But if you, of course, you have questions you would like to ask, you would like to speak, you can always do that via Zoom. But I want our primary attention to be on mural. That's where I want us to be. Okay. So let me just share the link for us. Let me share the link for us. Okay, that has been dropped already in the chat as well. So please let's click on that link and join mural. Let's click on the link and join mural. And please do not forget, when you're joining mural, please ensure to use your full name. Okay, I can see somebody has joined already. Victoria is already in. So I can see Victoria, I can see visiting fish. I can see visiting fish. So please, when you're coming in, most likely it's a network issue, right? That's why I can't see your name. But then when you're joining, please join using your full name, your first name and your last name, please. So I can see that 4 people have joined already. Ajibola, I can see Joshua, I can see Ajibola, Victoria. Okay, I can still see visiting doc here. So we're currently 10 on this call, 10 on this call. So I expect to see 10 people. So, and I can currently see just 5 people. So please, the rest of us, let's try and join. Let's try and join. And of course, as at yesterday, we were shown how to check our internet speed, right? When you go to fast.com. So I would expect that some of us have actually done that already, right? I would expect that some of us have actually done that already, right? Some of us have already done that already, so that, you know, you can ensure that you don't have maybe the internet kicking you off during the session or having connectivity issues, right? So please, let's join in. We're currently 4 now. We've reduced to 4. So let's join in. So while we're waiting for others to join in, let me just try and familiarize myself with the introduce yourself session that I can see here. So I can see Kenichi Oyedum. You were not able to bring in your picture as of yesterday. You were not able to bring in your picture as of yesterday, but let me see what you wrote down. Okay, you want to be able to analyze reports data clearly. So Kenichi, if you are currently on this call and you can hear me, I would like you to just type in the chat that you can hear me so that I can give you permission. I can give you, I can release you, right? So you can bring in your picture. So that I can bring in your picture. Now, if you look down, my own picture is also not there. So I would also be bringing in my picture too soon. I'll be bringing in my picture soon. Okay, so let's see how many we have now. We have just 5 people still here. Okay, Kene. Okay. So Kene, if you can hear me, are you currently on Mural as well? Are you on Mural? Are you on Mural? Are you on Mural? Please, I expect all of us to try and join in tomorrow. It's very important. So we have 6 people here now. So for as many of us that don't have our full names written, so on Zoom, right? On Zoom, I can see Ademido Aluko, I can see Adewale Adeni. Please, this is how we want us to put our names, your full names, so that we can be able to track your attendance and also for your marks to be able to be properly awarded to you, right? Because I can see SN032068, for example, now as a guest, right? You're supposed to use your full name. If I ask a question, you answer it correctly, there's no way for me to award your mark because I don't know your name. Your name is not fully shown here. So please, let's try and rename ourselves. Okay, Anna, mural is not opening. It loaded halfway. That's most definitely a network issue, right? That's most definitely a network issue. All you need to do is click on the link that was dropped in the chat, right? You click on that link, it's going to ask you for a few questions, most likely your name and email address as well, which email address is not that compulsory for you to put in, right? Just your name is okay, and then you join, right? And then you join. So let me just go back to this. So Kenichi wants to learn about how to analyze report data clearly. Temitope, is Temitope on this call? Okay, Temitope is on the call. Temitope Adeyemi, you want to learn Power BI, all right? Victoria Adewumi, you want to also learn Power BI. So it looks like this has been tampered with already. So let me see. I want to improve on reporting and analytics, but I don't know your name. There's supposed to be a name box here, but I don't know your name. So I don't know if this is actually Joshua or not.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm Michael Daniel. Are we to always sign in as visitor? Anytime we sign into
Tomorrow, right?
yeah, yes, tomorrow.
Yes. We're
Okay.
signing as visitor. Yes. Okay, so Flora has dropped the link once again for us tomorrow. So for as many of us that have not joined yet, because I can see that we're just 7, we're still 7 here, right? And we are currently 10 on this course. So 3 people have not joined. That's not good enough. So I can see we have Mikoku. So like I said, please use your full name, right? I can see Mikoko. I don't really know who Mikoko is, right? So please use your full name. I can see Annabello. I can see Adimino. Please, let's all
I signed in with my
as
name. Sorry,
okay.
but you are not seeing it. You said it's showing my staff number. But I
Yes.
picked my name when I was signing in.
All
So how
right.
do I change that?
Okay, Flora, don't worry. Just watch your full name, please. Just type your full name in the chat for me, so I'll rename it.
Okay.
Yeah, type your full name in the chat. So Flora, please help name that person. His name is starting with X SNO3 2068. So please help me name him. Okay. So I can see my I want to improve my tax knowledge. Wow. Most likely have an idea of them already, and that's good. That's very, very good. Okay, so let's see. Emeka Mwagu. I want to learn Power BI. Fadeyi. I love analytics. That's interesting. Then for Belu, Anna, let me see. I would like to know how to use the Power BI for proper data reporting and visualization, linking it with Excel. That's interesting as well. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Do you have anybody else? Okay, that is everybody. That is everybody. Okay. So how many people do we have on Mora now? We have 9. So we still have about 3 to go. We still have about 3 to go, but I think we can just continue while we wait for others to join us. We can continue while we wait for others to join us. All right, so you're welcome once again to reporting and analytics with Power BI. And as of yesterday, we already took a look at ground rules, right? Punctuality, having an open mind, one class, participation, respect, asking questions, and of course, ensuring that we mute our mics at all times, unless we actually need to speak, right? So I think for now, I would just like to speak on the punctuality and the participation aspect, right? So for punctuality, a number of us actually came in quite late today. So, right, against the next session, it's very important, at least 10 to 15 minutes before the session starts, please try and join. I understand that it might be a bit difficult based on the fact that we're combining, most of us are combining this with work, right? But nevertheless, let's try to join. And then for participation as well, very, very important. So as we all know, we're actually currently in teams, right? We have team yellow, team green, team blue, team lilac as well. So this is going to be very competitive, right? while you're doing your quiz, while you're answering questions in class, you're getting scores, you're getting marks for that. And of course, at the end of the day, the winning team will go home with a whopping amount of prize from Dbrown Consulting. And that is why we encourage everybody to ensure that they actually participate fully in these sessions. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda. So, of course, the online session already covered some of the fundamentals. So after that, we'll look at data preparation, data modeling best practices, data visualization best practices, working with DAX, and we'll have a capstone project as well. And of course, we would also talk about the Power BI service. We'll talk about the Power BI service. So right now, before we go to have our first quiz, because I want us to have our first quiz in the next few minutes before we go into what we have to do for today. Right, so today we are going to be talking about data preparation. Data preparation. That is what we're going to be talking about today. But then, before we go into what we have to do today, now I want us to have our first quiz. The first quiz is going to be based on what we already learned online, right? It has been touched in the online session of the course already. So let's all go to kahoot.it. Before we start anything at all, I want us to have that first quiz. So let's all go to kahoot.it. Let's go to kahoot.it. Kahoot.it, just hold on for the pin. So let's all go to kahoot.it. So this particular quiz should be a breeze for some of us, or for as many of us that ensure that we went through the online section of the course. It should be a breeze. It should be very easy for us. Right? It should be very, very easy for us.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, go on, Michael.
So I tried checking to this, the virtual section 1 is not opening. It's saying that you don't have access to it.
Yes, it's not going to open. It's not going to open. It will be open. You'll be given access after today's session.
Okay, to
Yes.
this section. It's all section 1 we're doing today, right?
Yes, yes. So you'll be given access after today's session. Yes. All right. So please let's come to Kahoot. Let's come to Kahoot. So our pin is loading already. So our pin is up now. Our pin is up now, 6979381. 6979381. So remember to use your email address, the same email address that was used to register you for this course. That's the same email address is what you should use, right? So that we can properly track this course. So use that email address, and of course for your alias, you can use any alias you want. So let's join. I can see Mikoko, I can see Ajibola. So we have 10 more people left to join. Councillor Vic, Demi. Okay, so half of the class is already here. We need 5 more people to join in, so please let's join in very quickly. Let's join in very, very quickly. Okay, you're welcome, Art. So we need more people to join, 4 more people. Okay, 3 more people. 3 more people, 3 more people. So by my time it's 12:05. Once it is 12:07 and it's not a full house, we're going to start. So we're waiting for 3 more people to join us on Kahoot. So let's join. The link has been dropped in the chat already, and the game pin has also been dropped as well. The game pin has been dropped as well. So let's join in. So let me remind us once again, Kahoot is a game of speed and accuracy, right? Game of speed and accuracy. As much as you want to be fast, also try to be correct as well. Okay, Ken is here, so we need 2 more people. 2 more people, 2 more people. So I think we should just start. For the rest of us that have not been able to join yet, you can still join regardless, even after we've started. So let's start. So like I said, you can still join, right? The game pin is still here for you to use. So just go to kahoot.it, insert the pin, and that's all. And then you can join. Okay, so looks like everybody got that correctly. But let's see who was the fastest. Okay, Mikoko was the fastest. Second question. Okay, everybody also got that correctly. Business intelligence, but who was the fastest? Okay, so Mikoko, Chancellor, Temitope, Demi, and Hat. Next question. Okay, so the answer is Power Query. Use M language in Power Query. All right, so let's see the board. Wow, Mikoko is not giving up. That's interesting. Let's see the next question. All right, only 4 people got that correctly. It's an excellent tool for extracting, transforming, and loading. All right, if you had gone through the next session of the course, that should have been very easy for you. Okay, so Mikoko still seems to be on top. So last question now. Okay, everybody got that correctly. Report, table, and model view. So let's take a look at the final podium. Third place, we have Temitope. In second place, Chancellor. And in first place, is that Mikoko? Wow, Mikoko. So well done, well done, well done. I believe this should be Mikoko should be Michael. Right, that's Michael Daniel, most likely. So yes, well done to everybody. So now, very quickly, Michael, that's good. So very quickly now, let's go back to morale. Let's go back to morale. Let's come back to morale. Once you're back in morale, just type yes in the chat. Once you're back to morale, type yes in the chat so that we can start fully. Just type yes in the chat, type yes in the chat for me. Okay. All right. So, like I said, what we currently have on our screen shows us the life cycle, right? When it comes to working with Power BI, this is the life cycle of the process when it comes to working with Power BI. So the first thing you do is to prepare your data, right? After preparing your data, you model your data. After modeling, you visualize, you write a number of DAX. After that, then of course you have your reports and then you can publish. So for today's session, we are going to be focusing majorly on data preparation. What does it mean to prepare your data? You know, some people will say to prepare something means to cook, right? So what does it mean to cook your data? right? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. But before I go on, I just want just one person to tell me, like, what is your understanding of data preparation? What is your understanding of data preparation? I want to start giving marks now. So just use the raise hand icon. Just use the raise hand icon if you want to speak. What do you understand by data preparation? What does it mean to prepare data? What does it mean to prepare data? Anybody, anybody, anybody? Just use the raise hand icon before I go on. Anybody wants to take a try at that? I want to start giving out marks now, so I need us to speak up. We've all done the online session of the course, right? And I believe this was already discussed in the online session as well. Okay, I can see Adewale wants to try. So please, you can unmute yourself, Adewale, and speak.
Okay, to prepare data means that to put it in a usable format
Okay.
or in a readable format that will enable the software to do its work.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Putting your data in a readable format that would enable the software to do its work. Now, when it comes to data preparation, right, there are so many things involved, right? So many things involved, right? One of the processes when it comes to data preparation is, of course, gathering the data in the first place, right? Because, of course, before you prepare the data, you must have been able to gather that data, right? So, of course, some people, some companies, they already have systems that help them to capture or generate data. Some people have to do, the manual, doing surveys, interviews, following the normal ways of getting data. Maybe you deploy a form online just to get people to fill that form and then you have your data, or you can do physical interviews and the rest, right? So first and foremost, you must have been able to gather data first. After gathering data, then you do 1 or 2 transformations, you clean the data, of course, because in most cases and in most times, let's take, for example, someone who works in the operation department of a company, for example, now, and you need data from the IT department. Maybe you want to analyze something or you need insight about something. In most cases, that data is not even going to come in a usable format, right? So you have to prepare that data. And what that means is you have to, do some level of panel beating. Sometimes your data might not even come in a table format, right? You have to convert it to a table. You have to remove excess spaces. You have to, ensure that everything is properly uniform, right? And of course, as we go on, we'll take a look at what it means to, have a dirty data and what it means to also have a clean data as well. But before we go into all of that, one of the things I want us to talk about is how do companies actually gather their data, right? How do companies actually gather the data to the point of now preparing and analyzing that data? How did they go about all of this, right? So in order for us to understand this, there's what we call systems, right? Systems that every organization actually runs. There are 2 systems that every organization runs. And this system is what actually helps these organizations to be able to gather and actually analyze their data. This I hope we are following. What did I say? Before you can say you want to start preparing your data, you must have been able to first of all gather data. Yeah, maybe importing it from somebody, maybe an IT department is giving it to you, or you're the one just doing a survey or interview to get the data by yourself. Right, but first of all, you must have been able to first gather the data first and then analyze data, right? But as an organization or in organizations, there are 2 systems that they follow through or they use for them to be able to analyze their data. Can anybody remember one of the systems? Because this was discussed in the online session as well. So can anybody on this call remember one of the systems? Can anybody remember? Anybody? We have 2 systems that organizations use for them to be able to gather and analyze their data. So what are those systems? What are those systems? Okay, so I'm saying Ademidu is saying SAP. Okay, Adewale, you have your hands up, so you can speak, please.
Analytics systems and operational systems.
Thank you. Thank you. Operational system and analytic system. Operational system and analytic system. So, and of course, operational systems are actually systems that help us to execute business processes, right? And what that simply means is they help the organization to actually capture and generate data, right? Take for example, some of the CRMs that, CRMs that customer, what do you call it now? Customer service people use, for example. Those CRMs have been designed in a way to actually help them to capture the customer's data and generate those data for them. Maybe in case they want to import it and use it to finally import it and maybe using it in Excel or using it in Power BI and analyzing that particular data, right? So CRMs, basically, I'm just going to stick with CRMs and use that to explain what operational systems actually do for us, right? So what they do basically is help you to capture data, your customers' data, your business data, and also generate those data as well, right? But in a layman language, what people would understand is operational system actually help us to execute business processes, right? So most banks, I don't know if we have anybody on this call that works with a bank. Most banks, they have operational systems. In fact, most companies that have or work with customers, basically, they have a system that helps them to capture, that has been designed in a way that will help them to capture their customers' data, right? So those kind of systems that help you to capture and generate your customers or business data is what we refer to as operational systems. Operational systems. But then, operational systems, let me enlarge this for us so that we can see this clearly. But then, operational systems actually have limitations, right? Operational systems, they have limitations. In as much as some CRMs, maybe for example, your usual Oracle, your Dynamics 365, your Zoom, your SAP, for example, they can help you, they can give you a little bit of insight into what your business data is talking about, or maybe what your customer data is talking about. They still have limitations because that is not what they are primarily built for. Operational systems are primarily built to execute and to capture your business data for you. That's what they do, right? But some of them have been engineered in a way that they can actually show you one or two insights as well, right? But that is their own limitation. They can't do more than that. They can just give you slight insight. But that is where analytic systems now come into play. That's where they come into play. Analytic systems, they are used to evaluate business processes. And what does that mean? They help you to analyze whatever data that has been captured or generated by the operational system. That is what they do for you, right? That is what analytic systems they do for you. Take, for example, you want to see your revenue generated maybe within a time frame from the data that you got from the operational system, right? Analytic system actually help you to do that. And one of those analytic system is what we refer to as Power BI, and that's what we're taking a look at today, right? Power BI, Microsoft Power BI. Of course, we have a lot of other analytic systems. Excel is even one of them as well, right? The old Excel is one of them, right? We have so many others. We have Looker, we have Tableau, and the rest, right? But based on research, right, and current standings, Microsoft Power BI actually leads all of these other tools, all of these other analytic systems. Microsoft Power BI leads them, right? You can actually go and do your research. So it doesn't look as if I'm just trying to sell the course or I'm trying to lie, right? Microsoft Power BI leads them. Why is that? Because in as much as it does the same work as others do, it also has some AI capabilities and so many other things, right? That you can actually use Power BI to do, right? So moving on from the two systems that every organization runs, one of the challenges that people usually face, especially people who analyze data, one of the challenges that they actually face is dealing with unclean data. That's one of the challenges they face. In fact, that's like one of the major challenges most people face. Because in most cases, when you're getting your data, maybe from the operational system or maybe from the IT department, for example, those data, they don't come prepared already. They don't come prepared already. It's either they are disjointed, right? So you have to be able to now sit down and think through, what can I use to, structure this data properly? What can I use to clean and transform this my data? What can I use to clean and transform this my data? Now, I would like to ask us a question. Let's say, for example, you've been given data from your IT department, right? What do you think would actually make that data easily analyzable for you? Let me come again with my question. You've been given data, or you went to your IT department, maybe your operations manager, for example, asked you to help get insights on one or two of their product and all that. And then you walked up to the IT department, you got the data from the IT department. Now, what is going to make that data easily analyzable for you as the person that wants to analyze data? What do you think would make your work easier while you're getting that data? I need just two people to give their ideas on that. What do you think would make that data easily analyzable for you? Let's think on that. Let's take a minute to ponder on that. And I need just two people to answer, just two people. So Flora, please take note of those that are answering questions, please. Very important. Very, very important. Or should I call names? I don't want to call names. So I want us to just, I want everybody to just be able to voluntarily participate in the session. So does anybody want to try? What do you think is going to make that data you're collecting easily analyzed or easily analyzable for you, that would make your work easy? Okay, Annabelle, please go on. You can unmute yourself.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
If it comes in a format that is understandable by the software that is being used, that means if it comes in a format that is already cleaned, that it will be
Okay.
easier to analyze.
Okay. So how do you identify a clean data from a dirty data?
Okay, you have it in a form that doesn't have maybe space, doesn't have text, depends on the data you're working on. So it comes in, it doesn't have maybe some symbols that the you're using doesn't understand. So you have to go through so before that in a form that
Okay.
is presentable and is understandable by the machine.
Okay. All right. So you've been saying something now, because from what you've been saying, you said provided data comes in a form that the software understands. All right. So if the software understands it, but you don't understand it, is that not a problem? Right? So in as much as we want the software to understand whatever data is coming in, we ourselves also need to also be able to dissect or understand what that data is all about as well. Right? So my question, thank you so much for your contribution. I sincerely appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, but I would like a few of us to still speak on this. Okay, so I can see Joshua's contribution there. Analytical tools, right? That's what will help us to identify a clean data from dirty data. So from what I heard, majority of us actually covered the online session quite a lot, right? So there's something I want us to talk about right now, which is the 7 golden rules of data management. 7 golden rules of data management. This is one of the ways that you can actually use to identify if your data is clean, properly structured, or not. Right? So I want us to type in the chat. What are the 7 golden rules of data management? This has been touched on already in the online session of the course. So let's type in the chat. Flora, please, 5 marks for each contribution. Very, very important. 5 marks for each contribution. So let's type in the chat. What are the 7 golden rules of data management. 7 golden rules of the, okay, I have 1 rule of heading. Thank you, Annabello. Thank you. No empty column, no empty row. Thank you. So we have 4 more to go. We have 4 more to go. Let's type in the chart. Let's type in the chart. This must be in a single column. Thank you. No obstruction around your data. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, thank you. Let me see, how many do we have now? So Temitope, your answer is not complete here. You just said no total, right? You just said no total. So it should be no totals or subtotals, right? No totals or subtotals anywhere at all in your data, right? So for my end here, I can see that we have just 5. We have just 5. We have just 5. So we need 2 more to go. Okay, we need 2 more to go. We need 2 more to go. From all that we've listed now, we have just 5. Just 5. Just 5. So 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. Every data must have its unique column. Thank you, Victoria. So I think we have 7 now. I think we have 7 now. I think we have 7 now. So let me just list that out for us so we can also take notes. Right. So one of the 7 golden rules of data management is 1 row of heading. 1 row of heading. So right now, I should bring up my, just a minute. Let me bring up my Excel sheet so that I can explain this to us properly. 1 row of headings. After 1 row of headings, there should be no empty cells, no empty columns rather in your data, no empty rows, no obstruction around your data. Every data must have its unique, every data must have its unique column. Dates in a single column, no total or subtotal anywhere in your column. Anywhere in your column. So please, can we confirm that we can see my Excel sheets right now? Can we confirm that we can see my Excel sheets? If you can see my Excel sheet, just type yes in the chat. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's just take a look at this. I want to use this particular Excel sheet to explain each and every of these 7 golden rules of data management. So you see, we have region, market, store, trade date, fiscal period, and model, line of business, and the rest. So now let's take, for example, that we have, let me do this. Let's say we have 2 of this. Then under this line of business, let's say we now have customer. Please, can you zoom in? It's tiny. Okay, let me try to do that. Let me try to do that. Just a minute. Okay, so how is it now, Victoria? How is it now? How is it now? Hope it's okay now. All right, thank you. So let's say you have customer here, right? And then you have, let's say this is customer name. This is customer name. Okay, let's just use this as our example. Right. So what this is basically talking about is, this is 1 rule of heading already, right? And of course, this customer name is also expected to be a column header as well, right? So you shouldn't have your data like this, right? You shouldn't have your data like this with the customer name or things that actually should be in a column being in a row. sort of, right? So this is one row of heading. You have region, you have market, you have store, one row of heading, right? But the moment you have customer name coming in directly under any of these other columns, then that means you now have two rows of heading, and that is not a clean data, right? That is not a clean data. So now we have no empty cells, no empty rows as well. So what that is basically talking about is when you have something like this in your data, when you have something like this in your data, you have something like this as well in your data, right? Your data is not expected to look like this. You shouldn't have empty cells. You can have empty cells rather, but you shouldn't have empty rows. You shouldn't have empty rows like this, and you shouldn't have empty columns like this as well in your data. Right. So it's very important that we understand there's a difference between columns, there's a difference between rows and cells, right? So can somebody just tell me what are cells in Excel? This is currently Excel right now. So what is the difference between row, columns, and cells? Because it can be confusing for some people at times. So what is the difference between rows, columns, and cells? Very quickly, who wants to quickly just do that for us? Let's see. Okay, Kenny, you can go on, don't worry. You've already unmuted, so just go on. Kenny, don't be shy. Go on.
Sorry, please, which data is this? Is this the one
No,
that was shared?
this wasn't shared with you. Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. We're still going to work with the one that was shared with you later. It wasn't shared. This is some sort of personal data, but this will still be shared later. Okay, so Kenny, you can go on. So what is the difference between a column, a row, and a cell? I'm listening. Go on.
Hi.
Hi, good afternoon. We can't hear you. I don't know if it's my network, but I can't actually hear you. I can't actually hear you. Okay, so that we don't spend too much time on this. So what exactly I'm clicking on right now, these are cells, right? These are cells. These are cells. This entire, what do you call it? This entire vertical line that you can see here is what rows. This is what column. These are columns. These are rows, and these are cells. So it is very possible to have your data and then there are empty cells. That is perfectly fine. Please let's note that it is perfectly fine to actually have empty cells. Well, what it simply means is, so let me delete this. Let me delete this as well, and then delete this. So in a situation where you have, let's say you have something like this, you have something like this, you have this, let's remove this as well, right? So can someone tell me, is this clean data or dirty data? Just looking at this. Is this clean or dirty?
Dirty.
Someone said clean, someone said dirty. Is this clean or dirty data? Who said dirty? Okay, Joshua said dirty. So Joshua, do you want to explain what do you think is dirty data?
Okay, I could see some inconsistencies in
Okay.
the data. There are empty cells.
Okay.
Dates are not uniform.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup has to be done to, to make this one clean data, in my opinion.
All right. So for those who said clean, let me see. Dimitokpe, I've not heard from you today. So do you want to unmute yourself and speak? Why do you think this is actually a clean data? Why do you think it's a clean data?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so what I think is it's possible we have empty cell. So
Okay.
that's why I think this is a clean data.
All right, thank you. So actually, right, this is can you please mute yourself? Thank you so much, Temitope. All right, so this is actually a clean data, right? It's actually a clean data, and the reason why it's clean is there is no rule that is saying that you cannot have empty cells, right? You can have empty cells in your data. You can have empty cells. So in most cases, when you have empty cells like this, you just need to reach out to where you got the data from, right? Reach out, maybe it is from your IT department. In most cases, maybe they did not record values for the revenues gotten during this period, and that is why it's empty, right? And that is why it is empty. So in most cases, this might just be 000, or better still, maybe there was a mistake when they were trying to compile the data. So when you see empty cells like this, your data is actually clean. It's actually clean. But it is now in cases, did we have this correctly done? Okay, so in cases where you now have empty, entirely empty columns like this, entirely empty columns like this, right? That is when you can now say this is actually a dirty data, because this is not serving any purpose at all, right? This empty column is serving no purpose, right? So you should delete it. And of course, when you also have empty rows as well, you delete them. So that takes care of no empty cells, no empty columns and no empty rows. Then now, when we talk about no obstruction around your data, no obstruction around your data. So let's say, for example, actually work as a salesperson, right? I work as a salesperson, and this is the data I want to submit to my boss, right? So I'm trying to like come up with reasons why maybe on some days we made low sales and on some days we made higher sales. So I could just easily come to this place now and say, okay, rain fell on this day, right? Rain fell on this day. I can come here and say tanker fell on this day. Then I can also come here and also add something like let's just say this is me just giving different reasons, right? And I just say fuel subsidy affected sales, right? So these are actually obstructions around your data because they don't serve any purpose. They don't serve any purpose. They are obstructions. But my question to you now is this: how do you turn this into actually dirty data? As it is like this, it is dirty data. But how do you turn this into a clean data? This is actually an obstruction, an obstruction, an obstruction. Basically, you're talking about reasons why you add low sales, right? So how do you turn this into a clean data? Do you delete it, or what do you do? Can somebody just think around that? What do you think we should do?
What's the question?
Okay, so the question is this. This rain fell on this day that we have here. Tanker fell on this day, fuel subsidy, and many others, right? They are obstructions around your data. Do you understand? So now, how do you turn these obstructions around your data into, what do I call it now? How do you make it useful? Let me put it that way, to the data itself, so you don't have to delete it. Do you understand?
Give it a proper. You can give it a proper heading.
You can give it what? A proper heading. Thank you so much, Ajibola. You can give it a proper heading. Flora, please, that's 10 marks. That's very impressive. You give it what? A proper heading. So what can we call this now?
Comments.
What do we call this? Thank you, Michael. You can call this what? Comments. So once you do this, you've given it a proper structure. The column now has what? It has a name. And of course, you can now go ahead to start stating your comments or your reasons why you think you did better or you did worse. Right? So now you've been able to turn this obstruction into something that could actually be useful for the data itself. Right? So that actually explains what no obstruction around your data talks about. Then of course, every data type must have its own unique column, So when you have region, you don't expect to see date under this place, right? You don't expect to see model, you don't expect to see line of business under. So region should be region. Market should be what? Market. Store should be store. Your date should be your dates. Your model should be model. Under this model now, we should not have customer name under as well, right? So that is what that is talking about. Every data type must have its own unique column. Then of course, dates should be in a single column. Your dates should be in a single column. A lot of people make the mistake of putting their dates in rows. Your dates should never be in rows. That's actually very, 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 very dirty data. Your dates should be in what? Single column. Single column. As we go on, would be able to better understand what this means. Right, your date should be in a single column, and of course, no subtotals or totals anywhere in your data. No subtotals or totals anywhere in your data. So let me explain this first. So let's say while I was computing this, I came here now, I inserted here, and I said, okay, what is my total here? I did total. So I came to, let me call this total. Where do we have it? So I call this total, for example. Then I come to for the Kuje, directly under Kuje, I come here, I do total again. I calculated my total here as well, right? So now, you notice that by the time I do a sum of all of these, I'm going to be reporting something false. Do we agree with that? I'm going to be reporting something false, and that's because I've actually added totals in my data. Now, let's not forget that this is our data. This is not a report. This is just your data itself. So your data, your data should not have totals or subtotals in any form. But of course, your report, you can always show totals, you can show average, you can show count and the rest. But your data itself should not have totals or subtotals, because when you have totals or subtotals, you end up reporting the wrong figure. You end up, enlarging. Let's say you were supposed to have made just 1 point something billion. You find out that since you already did totals for each of these regions, for each of the regions, your final revenue might be ×2 or ×3 of that. And that means you are giving false insight, false report, right? So it's very important that we take note of that. So that is that on the 7 golden rules of data management. The 7 golden rules of data management. So right now it's currently 12:43 by my time. 12:43 by my time. So I think we should go on our break now. Let's go on that break now. So once we come back, we'll now take a look at the file that was sent to us, the dirty data sample file that was sent to us, so that we can better understand all of this. Right, so let's go on that break. Our break is for let's go on a 12 minutes break. Let's go on a 12 minutes break. 12 minutes break. Okay, thank you, Flora, for dropping that. It's also in the chat as well, so you can go to the chat and pick it up from there if you don't want to go through your mail anymore. All right, thank you, Hannah. So once we have it open, I want us to, okay, Godfrey is asking for the link. What link, Godfrey? What link? We're talking, what we're discussing right now is the, Flora, can you please drop the file again in the chat? I think that's what Godfrey needs. We're no longer on moral at the moment, right? We are no longer on moral at the moment. So please, Flora, kindly drop the file again for Godfrey so that Godfrey can download it. All right. So while we're waiting for others, right? Let's take a look at this first one. We have five sheets, right? We have 5 sheets. The golden rules, 31, 32, 33, and then the blank sheet. So let's go to 31. Let's go to 31. Now, I would have asked us, is this a clean data or a dirty data? But I already named this 31, so obviously that's 30. But what I want to ask us now is this. Which of the 7 rules, the 7 golden rules of data management, did this 31 not align with? I want us to take a look at this very well. We have 7 golden rules of data management, right? And we said once your data does not align even with just one of those golden rules, right? That means your data is dirty. Your data is dirty. So, and this is a dirty data. So what exactly is wrong with this data? Which of the 7 golden rules of data management is this data not abiding by. Right. So I don't want us to type in the chat. I want us to unmute ourselves at this point. So one answers. And if you know the two, if you want to say more than that, please just go ahead. So let's use our raise and icon. Let's use our raise and icon. This is 102 already by my time. We still have a lot to cover. We're still going to Power BI today. So somebody should something. Just unmute yourself and speak. What do you think is wrong with this data? If it is dirty, what is wrong with it? Which of the 7 golden rules of data management did this data not obey? Ajibola, I can see you unmuted already. So
one of the things I saw that they have two rows for headings.
Thank you. Flora, please. That's 10 marks, please. 10 marks. Thank you. 2 rows of headers, right? 2 rows of headers, and according to the rule, it should be what? Just 1 row of heading. So that is one of the things that these data, defaulted in. So what else? What else? What else? What else can we see? Is that all? Is that all? Is that all? Because that's not all for what I can see here. So what else? What else can we see? What else can we see? Okay. So even put it this way. Now, aside from 7 golden rules of data management that we know, just look at this data. What do you think is wrong with this data? Just look at it. Just look at it. What do you think is wrong? So aside from the this 1 row of heading that this data does not have, what else do you think is wrong with the data? What is unclean about this data? Anybody? Anybody? Are we still thinking about it?
For me, the column is without a header. No header to know.
Okay, thank you. It looks like Ajibola is really one in this class today. Extra 10 marks for Ajibola, please. Right? So I need us to be responsive. Please, let's be responsive. So Ajibola has said 2 things already now. Okay, although I can actually see Anna's response as well in the chat, but I think Ajibola already responded before you did that. Right? So, but there are still other things that I can see, and I want us to also see it. So let's speak. Okay, columns don't have definitive format. Okay, Victoria, please go on. Victoria, go on, don't worry.
I wanted to say the numbers in the cells, there's
Okay.
nothing to indicate whether they are in thousands or in millions. It's just number.
Well, that might not necessarily be a reason why it is 30, right? That might not necessarily be a reason why it's 30. I don't know if you get that might not be a reason. That might not necessarily be a reason why it's 30. So somebody else should give me another answer. Thank you so much for that, Victoria. So we have columns don't have definitive format. Okay, so one of the golden rules that this is defaulting by is this. We said every unique data should have its own column. That's what we said. And we have copier sales here. So let's even assume that copier sales is let's use parts, for example. Under parts, you are having what do you call it? You're having the values under part. This doesn't look right. These are figures. And if you look at this now, these are our northwest, north central, northeast, northwest, southeast. If you scroll to the right, you have south column. We have southwest. These are regions, right? These are regions, and they should have what? What should they have? They should have their own singular column. Please, I hope you are following. These are regions, and they should have their own what? Their singular column. Now, when we are not talking about copier sales, part, printer sale, service plan, what do you think these are? Somebody type in the chat. We have copier sales, part, service plan. We have copier sales, part, printer, service plan. Can you see that? For the next one, for this next region, we have the same thing as well. For the next region, this southeast, we have the same thing. For south, we have the same. So what is this talking about? This service plan, copier sales, printer sale, and parts. What are they talking about? Are they products? What do you think it's talking about? So if this is talking about regions, what is this second rule talking about? And then does anybody want to try? What do you think it's talking about? Just try. Just see what's just see what's on your mind, right? There's no. You might be correct, obviously. So there's no harm in trying. So we have copier sales, parts, printer sales, service plan for each of these regions. Can you see that? For Northwest, Northwest has its own, 4 of them. For Southeast, Southeast also has its own as well. For South, it also has its own too. So, okay, Adewale says it is quantities, all right? Does anybody else want to try? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else?
I
Okay, I can hear you go on, Tibitokwe.
Okay, so I think what that means is that that's what the business, like that's what they are doing. That's what they are into.
This is like their product, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. Thank you. So, like I said, this should have its own column, right? We should have a column for regions, and as well, we should also have a column for products. We should have a column for regions, we should have a column for products. And we should also have a singular column for dates too. This date should be properly named, right? It should have its own column header, right? So this and many other things are some of the things that are actually wrong with this our data. So before you take your data and in most cases, most people just, they go to Power BI, they bring in the data straight from whatever it is that is loading, that are getting it from, and take it straight to Power BI, right? In most cases, it is always advised that you open your data, if possible, in Excel first, so that you can actually understand what is wrong with that data. Then when you now get to Power BI, you can now, find out how you can better approach cleaning that data. So my next question to us will be this. If you have this data the way it is now, obviously this is a dirty data. What can we use to clean it? That's my next question to us. What can we use to clean a dirty data? Let's type in the chat. What can we use to clean a dirty data? What can we use to clean a dirty data? Somebody should type that in the chat for me. What can we use to clean a dirty data? What? We already talked about this in the online session of the course. So I'm surprised I'm not getting any responses from us. And majority of us already passed that level already. All right. So what do you use to clean a dirty data? What do you use? Okay, let me make this easier for us. In Power BI. Thank you, Temitope. I was about to just give the answer away. Thank you so much. Power Query. That is what you use to clean your dirty data. And it's important to also note that Power Query, just the way you have it in Power BI, you also have it in Excel as well. Yes, there's Power Query in Excel too. Right? There's Power Query in Excel. Once you come to data, under this data, you come to get data. This is Power Query here. Right? You can see get and transform data. All that you can see here, they are components of Power Query. But that's not what we are talking about today. We're talking about Power BI. Right? We're just bringing our data to Excel to better understand the structure of the data. Right? So we use Power Query to do what? To clean our dirty data. So right now, I want us to open our Power BI. Let's open our Power BI. Let's open our Power BI. Let's open our Power BI. But then if possible, you can close this file that you already have open. The Excel file, you can close it, right? Before you open Power BI. You can close it before you open Power BI. So once you have your Power BI open already, just type yes in the chat for me, please. I currently have mine open, and I believe that's what we all can see at the moment. Thank you so much, Adewale. So let's open our Power BI. Let's see how far we can go before, because we have, I think, about 34 minutes to the end of the class. So, okay, so let's see. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Joshua. So for the rest of us, let's also do that. Let's open our Power BI. Let's open a blank Power BI page. Let's open a blank Power BI page. So this is how the Power BI looks like, right? This is Power BI interface. So in most cases, it is always advised that when you are trying to learn a tool, right, or even if it is a software, for example, try to first familiarize yourself with the interface, right? What is this? What is where, you know? So earlier we asked question about the views that we have in Power BI desktop, right? So we have 3 views. This is it here. We have the report view, which is where we currently have. This report view, this is where you build your visuals. This is where you build your visuals. Then we have the table view. Once you import your file into Power BI, right? This is where you can come to see just the way you can view your data in Excel, right? That is what the table view can also do for you. You can view your data as well in Power BI too. And of course, we have the model view. So of course, when we get to the part of data modeling, we'll understand what we use this view for more, right? But this is where you come to, create connections between your data. If you are working with more than 2 or 3 tables of different data, this is where you do that. But let's just go back to our report view. Let's go back to our report view. So aside from the views, aside from report view, table view, and model view, we also have what we call panes. We have what we call panes in Power BI, right? We have the filter pane, we have the visualization pane, and we also have the data pane. We have the data pane. So this is where, of course, once you bring in your data, as we'll see as we go on, this is where your data will be seated. And of course, if you want to visualize, this is where you choose the particular visual that you want to use, right? This is where you choose that. And then, of course, for this filter pane, if there's a specific type of filter that you want to use on your visual or on the entire page itself, this is where you customize that particular filter, right? So now we want to bring in our data, right? We want to bring in our data. But before we bring in our data, let me explain a few other things to us as well. So just the way we have it in most of Microsoft tools, right? In Excel, in Microsoft Word, we have the ribbons. We have ribbons and tabs, right? So these are tabs. We have the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Modeling tab, the View, the Optimize tab, the Help tab, right? And these are the entirety of all of this is what we call ribbons, right? So we have the Get Data, the Excel workbook, and other what do you call them now? Objects that you can always explore, right? You can always explore maybe during your spare time, right? You can always explore them. But then for us to bring in our data, the data we want to bring in is what? The dirty data sample, right? So to bring in our dirty data sample and to go to Power Query, the first thing you do is to click on Get Data. Can you see Get Data under your Home tab? That's where you have Get Data. So you click on Get Data. When you click on this drop down under Get Data, just come and click on More. There's something I want to show us. So let me do that again. You click on this drop down under Get Data, then you click on More. This is what you have. Can we confirm that we have this? Let's type in the chat if we have this. Let's type very quickly in the chat. Let's confirm that we have this Get Data. Okay, Adewale has that. I need our responses. Okay, Adewale, Temitope, Anna, what about the others? Let's confirm that we have this list. So let me show us how I got here again. You come to your Get Data, this drop down here, then you click on More. So this is just showing us the numerous connectors, right? Numerous sources that Power BI can actually connect to. Over 250 connectors. Over 250. That shows you how powerful this tool is. Over 250, right? You can connect to Excel. You can connect to Excel. You can connect to CSV or test files, JSON. You can connect to a folder. You can even extract your data. You can connect to PDF. You can connect to SharePoint folder, and of course, you can connect to databases as well: SQL, Oracle, MySQL, IBM, and and the rest of them as well. We also have Microsoft Fabric. We have Power Platform. You can connect to data vars. You can connect to data flows. We have Azure, right? Azure SQL database, Azure Blob Storage. So many. Even when you come to online services as well. Let's say you have a link up, you have a link, right? You can also do that too. Let's say you have a what do I call it now, a website that you want to get data from. You copy the link of that website and you can connect it to Power BI. You can connect it to what? To Power BI. So many connectors, so many data sources, so many of them, right? So, but for today now, we want to connect to an Excel file. We want to connect to an Excel file. So we can either go directly from here. This is Excel workbook here. You can just click on Excel workbook, go to where you have the file, right? Go to where you have the file and then do that. So you can either go through that, or you come to, if you look at this, we have import data from Excel. So you can either go from just clicking on Excel workbook, or you can come from here as well, or you can now go through the routine way of going through get data, right? So, but I'll just do the normal one. Let me come to get data. So you click on get data, you click on Excel workbook, then you navigate to where you saved your own dirty data sample, right? So I have my dirty data sample currently saved on my desktop, right? So I'm just going to open. I'm going to open this. So let's see. I want us to follow through, please. Let's also try and do this at our own end as well. So this is going to open up a pane for me. Can we see? This is called your navigator pane. Your navigator pane. So when you're trying to bring in a file, right? When you're trying to bring in a file, the first interface that you see that pops up is called the navigator pane, the navigator interface, right? Or you can call it the navigator dialog box, right? So this is the navigator pane. So, and of course, this shows you all of the sheets that you have in your Excel file. Can you see that when I click on 7 golden rules, it shows me what we have there. When I click on blank, of course, blank is blank, it's empty. When I click on 31, it shows me what I have in that my worksheet. Can you see this? When you click on 32, it shows you the same thing. 33, it shows you the same thing as well. But for today now, we are going to be working with just 31. We are going to be working with just what? Just 31. So to bring in your 31, right, you click on this check box that we have here. Can you see this? You check this box. You check this box. Now, if you just want to see the content of the sheet, you don't want to bring it in, obviously, you can just click on this. It shows you the content of each of the sheets, right? But since you want to bring it in, you have to check this box. So once you check this box, once you check this box, we have 3 options down beneath. Can we see? We have load, transform, and then cancel. We have load, transform, and cancel. But before I go on, I need us all to be on the same page. So can we please confirm that we are here now? Can we all confirm that we are here now? So if you are here, please just type yes in the chat with me. Just type yes in the chat for me. Okay, thank you. Victoria, thank you, Adewale. Let's type yes if we are here. Let's type yes if you are here. Let's type yes if we are here. And if you are lost, please don't hesitate to call me back. Do not hesitate to call me back if you have questions. Do not hesitate to also ask your questions as well. Right? Do not hesitate to also ask your questions as well. So I've gotten just 2 responses so far. So I need every single one of us on this call to respond to that. So I need us all to be on the same page. So do we have this? Do we have this? Have we been able to bring in dirty data sample? And have we clicked on this checkbox beside 31? So Ajibola, I need you to confirm that you're with me. Anna, same thing. Joshua, Kenne, Michael, Godfrey, Temitope. I need you to confirm that we are currently on the same page before I go on. I don't want anybody to be lost. So can you please confirm that? Can you please confirm that? Or do you want me to take it again? Do you want me to take it again? If you want me to take it again, just say so.
I'm with you. I don't know about this. I am with you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ajibola. Thank you. Okay, so let me go back. Let me just go back. For those of us that, okay, you are lost. Kenneth says you lost. Anna, you've not been able to. So let me show us how I did it all over again, right? So you come to your get data tab. This is your get data, what do you call it, ribbon now? You come here, right? So you click on get data, you click on Excel workbook, since that is where you're bringing, that is the format. that the file is coming in, right? Excel. So then you navigate to where you already. So most likely for us now, since we already downloaded it, most likely it's going to be under your downloads, right? Most likely it's going to be under your downloads. But for me, mine is in my desktop. So I just go to where it is. I click on it. This is it. This is the samples, right? And then I click on open. So when I click on open, there's a page that comes up. This is it, navigator pane. This is what comes up, right? And this, what it shows me is, it shows me the worksheets that I have in my Excel file that I'm bringing in. Oh, Joshua. Oh, that means you're using the online, the Power BI service. You're supposed to download the desktop version, right? Yes, you're supposed to download the desktop version. So please, you can always go to Microsoft Store to get that downloaded. You can go to Microsoft Store to get that downloaded. So the recording of this particular session would also be made available, right? So you can always follow through once you get the recording. All right. So that is for Joshua. But for the rest of us, please let's try and be on the same page as well. That is to Anna and Kenneth. So Kenneth, it said you're lost. I hope you've been found now, and I hope you are with me. So for 31, I said we're using just 31. We're working with just 31 today. So you check this 31 box, check the box, check it. Once you check it, there are 3 options that you have here. We have load, we have transform data. We have load, then we have transform data. So basically, we are currently about to go to Power Query now. But now the thing is if you click on load, right? If you click on load, this just takes you, if you click on load, this just takes you straight to Power BI desktop. But we are going to Power Query, right? So to go to Power Query, you need to click on transform data. You need to click on transform data. So for as many of us that are here, let's click on transform data. Let's click on transform data. So I'm speaking to Godfrey now. Godfrey, please, we already had a technical session yesterday. I don't know if you're available for that session, right? But when speaking with respect to downloading Power BI, all of that should have been done as of yesterday. You should have your Power BI already on your laptop, on your desktop, right? You have that downloaded as of yesterday already, right? So that once the class starts, it's easier for you to just follow through. Okay. So, but if you are still having challenges, just you can either download Power BI directly from Microsoft Store, right? Or you can download it from, maybe you go to Google and just type download Power BI desktop from there. There should be a file that you can download and install if Microsoft Store is not allowing you to download it. But then it's free, right? Power BI desktop is free, so you can download it from Microsoft Store. You won't be asked to make any payment. So please try and do that. And if you are still experiencing any issues, just send us a mail. We'll see if it's something that we can resolve from our own end. Right? We'll see if it's something that we can resolve from our end. So let me reshare my screen again so that we can see my Power Query. So once you click on transform, it opens up this interface for you. It opens up this interface for you. Can we please confirm that we can see my screen? Can we see Power Query? Let's type yes in the chat if you can see Power Query. So for as many of us that maybe we don't have Power BI downloaded and the rest, right? Just follow through while we're in class, right? Immediately after the class, you can get it downloaded. The video will be sent to you that you can now sit down properly and then, better understand it. But for now, I want us to pay our attention to what I'm about to do. Okay? So now this is our Power Query interface. This is our Power Query interface. So what do we use Power Query to do? We use Power Query, or let's just say, let me put it like this. Power Query is used to extract, transform, and load your data. So Temitope, I can see you have your hands raised. So please, you can just go on. Go on.
Okay, sorry, I wanted to confirm. Okay, we are just working on the 31. The 31.
Yes, just 31. So that's why I
should
said
just check that.
only 31. Yes.
Okay.
Check only 31 and then click on transform. click
Okay.
on transform data.
Thank you.
So, all right, you're welcome. So as I was saying, right, Power Query is an ETL tool. Power Query is an ETL tool where E stands for extract, T stands for transform, and L stands for what? Load. L stands for load. Extract, transform, and load. Right? That is what we use Power Query for. So Temitope, I can see your hand is raised. Do you have a question? Do you have a question? Your hand is still raised from my hand. I can see your hand is still
Okay,
raised.
sorry, that's it. Let me draw.
Okay, okay. All right. So now this is how our Power Query interface looks. This is how our Power Query interface looks. So just the way in Power BI Desktop, just the way we have our tabs, you see that we also have tabs here as well. Can we see that? We have tabs here as well. We have the Home tab, Transform tab, Add Column tab, View tab, Tools tab, Help tab. Can we see all that? Can we see all that? So I don't want us to, rush ourselves. Let's take it one step at a time. All of these things, you can learn them as we go on, right? The more you explore, the more you use the tool, you get to know how to get better with it, right? Now, as we've brought in our dirty one, right? We've brought in our dirty one. So this is where we currently have dirty one here. That's where your queries will stay. This is where your queries will stay. This is where your data itself will stay. And if you look to the right side of your screen, you'll see we have query settings, we have properties. So if you want to rename your 31, for example, you can rename it from here, right? You can rename it from here. So, but I'm just going to leave mine like that. So now, under this 31, what do we have? We have all applied what? We have applied steps. So under applied steps, you have source, navigation, promoted headers, and change type. So what this is doing for you is that whatever transformation, whatever cleaning steps that you do on this your data, it is recorded in these applied steps here. Can you see that? It is recorded in these applied steps here. So immediately we brought in this our file now, we can already see 4 applied steps. So I'm going to explain what this means to us. So we can see source. We can see source. Can we see source? Can we see source? We can see source, we can see navigation, promoted headers, and then changed type. So what this means is this source now, can anybody tell me what was the source of our data? What was the source of our data? Anybody? What was the source of our data? Thank you, Excel, right? So that is what this source is all about. The source is not just Excel as well, it also speaks to where Excel is sitting. Where did you get Excel from? Where is that data source from? Right? So that's what this source is talking about. Then navigation is talking about the navigation pane that we saw earlier. The navigation pane that we saw earlier where you had to click on transform data. That's what this is. Then immediately we came into Power Query. Power Query being an intelligent tool, it automatically promoted headers. Power Query was the one that did this for us. This promoted headers and changed type. It did it automatically for us, right? So it promoted headers and then it changed the type. It changed the data type. And so it's actually always advised that when you bring in your data newly, right, always cancel these 2 steps here. Can you see that? Always cancel the 2 steps with the promoted headers and the changed type. Always cancel it. So you have just source and navigation. In as much as we appreciate what Power Query has done, we did not really ask you to do that for us. So it's always advisable that you do the cleaning. You take charge of your cleaning yourself, right? Take charge of your cleaning yourself. So now we're about to start cleaning, right? We're about to start transformation. So just the way you have this right now, is also the same way it is seated in Excel when you open your file. This is exactly what we saw in Excel. Can we remember? In Excel, when we opened this, we had 2 empty cells at the top. Can we remember? We had 2 empty cells at the top. Then we have North Central. We had North Central, Northeast, and the other regions. If you scroll to the right side, you see them, the other regions. Then of course we had this product directly under them, and we had these figures. I hope you can remember. This is exactly how it is in Excel as well. So now we are about to start cleaning. We are about to start cleaning. So let me also add now that a lot of times, the approach that you will take to clean one data is in most cases different from the approach that you use to clean another data. Let me come again. The approach, okay, I can't seem to remove the change type and promoted errors. You can actually remove it. You see this red mark by the side here? Just click on that, it will remove it for you. Click on this red mark by the side. Just click on that and it will remove the promoted errors and change type for you. So please confirm that you've been able to do that, Anna. Come to the side, you'll see this mark here. Click on it and it will remove it for you. Click on it and it will remove it for you. So please confirm that you've been able to do that. Anna, kindly confirm that you've been able to do that. It is not turning red. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So because of this, you're complaining now, because since I already deleted my own, I might have to go and bring it in again just so I can show you. Right, so it's expected to, once you come to the side, right, can you see that mine has deleted already? So let me just delete this, let me close this and go and bring in my data all over again. Right, let me close that and bring in my data all over again. So Anna, I don't really know, maybe you want to share your screen with me. Let me see if it's something that I can speak to very quickly. Right, so if you don't mind sharing your screen with me, just let me know so I can allow you to share screen. So I can allow you to share screen. So I'm just going to delete this one. I don't need this. And rename this back to 31. Okay, so let's allow Anna share her screen very quickly so that we can help her resolve her issue. So Anna, please share your screen. Share your screen very quickly. You can share your screen. You can share your screen so that we can resolve that. So I'm going to stop sharing now so you can share your screen, please. Okay, so come to your change type here. Change type. Can you see change type? Hello, Anna. Under your apply steps, come to your apply steps. Okay, so on that change type, so just click on it. Click on it. No, not on the change type. Click on the mark, this mark sign. Just click on it like that. Yes. Is it working? It's still not removing, right? So let me see what we can do here. Okay, so close this Power Query interface. Close the Power Query interface. So it looks to me like your Power BI is hanging. So close this Power Query interface. You can see that it's not even showing, it's not allowing you to even close it. So I think this is a laptop, what do we call it now? Most likely a laptop issue. Since you can't even close Power Query. So you should be able to close Power Query and then bring the file in again. Close Power Query and bring the file in again. Once you bring the file in, you should be able to cancel the change type and promoted headers. All right. Do you understand that, Anna? So that we can quickly move on with the class. We still have a lot to cover. Can you hear me, Anna? I hope you can hear me. All right, that's fine. All right. So like I said, just try to see if you can close your Power Query editor and then bring in your file all over again. Bring in your file all over again. So very quickly, let me walk us through how we can actually clean this. How we can actually clean this, our dirty data. So let me cancel this step and then I cancel this step as well. So like I was saying earlier, I said the approach you might take to clean this data in most cases will be different from the approach used to clean other data. But what is important is to understand your data, understand what is wrong with that data, and then think around what you can actually do to clean the data. think around what you can do to clean that data. So the first thing we're going to do here is this. Let's come to our transform tab. Let's come to our transform tab. Directly under transform tab, we are going to see what we call transpose. Can we see that? Come to your transform tab. Directly under transform tab, you will see the button called transpose. You will see the button called transpose, right? So just click on this transpose and watch what happens. Can you see that? So what transpose does is, let me cancel this step and explain again. What transpose does is this. Everything that you can see here, all the things that